Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today's video is going to leave you stunned. During a recent Senate Banking Committee hearing, things got, when Senator John Kennedy confronted President Biden's nominee for Comptroller of the Currency, Saule Omarova. The topic? Her past ties to communist organizations and some pretty controversial academic writings. What followed was one of the most heated and unforgettable exchanges in recent political memory. So let's break it down.
Good morning, Professor Omarova. Let me get right to it. You used to be a member of the Leninist Communist Youth Union, didn't you?
Senator, I was born and raised in the Soviet Union. Membership was expected. Everyone joined as part of school.
Well, could you check your records and see if you ever sent a resignation letter?
Good morning, Professor.
Good morning.
You used to be a member of a group called the Young Communist, didn't you?
Senator, are you referring to my membership in the Youth Communist Organization while I was growing up in the Soviet Union?
I don't know. I wanted to ask you that question.
Well, Senator,
There was a group called the Young Communists, and you were a member. Is that right?
I'm not exactly sure which group you're referring to.
Well, the formal name of it is the Leninist Communist Young Union of the Russian Federation, and it's also known as the Leninist Komsomol of the Russian Federation, and it's commonly referred to as the Young Communists. Were you a member?
Senator, I was born and grew up in the Soviet Union.
Yes, ma'am, but were you a member of that organization?
Everybody in that country was a member of the Komsomol, which was the Communist Youth Organization, because
So you were a member?
that was a part of normal progress in school.
Have you resigned
From the youth,
from the Young Communists?
you grow out of it with age, automatically.
Did you send them a letter though, resigning?
Senator, this was many, many years ago. As far as I remember how the Soviet Union worked, was at certain age, you automatically stop being a member of that
Could you look at your records and see if you can find a copy of your...
Senator Kennedy, I don't interrupt. I almost never interrupt these, but
Well, you always interrupt me, Mr.
no,
President,
actually I
and
don't.
I
Not nearly
won't
as many
pursue-
times
I
as I'd
won't
like to.
pursue
No,
the line of questions.
she renounced her Soviet citizenship.
Well, I understand that, but you're not the witness. She is. Would you look at your records and see if you can find a letter of resignation for me?
Let me tell you what I've found in your record. You wrote your thesis at Moscow State University on Marx's economic analysis. In 2020, you argued for moving bank accounts to the Federal Reserve, and you joined a Marxist Facebook group in 2019. Honestly, Professor, I don't know what to call you.
Senator, I could not choose where I was born. My family suffered under the Soviet regime. My grandmother barely survived Stalin's purges. That pain is burned into my memory. I came to America, renounced my Soviet citizenship, and am proud to be an American. I'm here today because I want to serve. That's why I'm sitting before you.
Let me tell you what, I've spent a lot of time on your record, and here's what I found. Look, this is America. You can believe what you want, but we can't just let anybody be controller of the currency. You wrote your thesis in college at Moscow State University the title was Karl Marx's Economic Analysis and the Theory of Revolution in the Capital. But you won't send Senator Toomey a copy. You studied at Moscow State University, scientific communism, which is the science regarding the working class struggle and the socialist agenda. In 2019, not 30 years ago, in a Canadian documentary, you called the financial services industry, quote, a quintessential asshole industry. You wrote a paper called Systemically Significant Prices, calling for the federal government to set wages, food, gas prices. In 2020, you wrote a paper called The People's Ledger, where you said we need to abolish bank accounts and make everybody set up an account at the Fed where the federal government will have access to your data. In 2020, you wrote another paper called The Climate Case for a National Investment Authority, where you said what we need to do, the oil and gas industry, is have the federal government bankrupt them so we can tackle climate change. In 2019, you joined a Facebook group, a Marxist Facebook group, to discuss socialist and anti-capitalist views. Now, that's what I see from your record. And you have the right to believe every one of these things. You do. This is America. But I don't mean any disrespect. I don't know whether to call you professor or comrade.
Senator, I'm not a communist. I do not subscribe to that ideology. I could not choose where I was born. I do not remember joining any Facebook group that subscribes to that ideology. I would never knowingly join any such group. There is no record of me ever actually participating in any Marxist or communist discussions of any kind. My family suffered under the communist regime. I grew up without knowing half of my family. My grandmother herself escaped death twice under the Stalin regime. This is what's seared in my mind. That's who I am. I remember that history. I came to this country. I'm proud to be an American. And this is why I'm here today, Senator. I'm here today because I'm ready for public service.
At this point, the hearing turned tense, not just between Kennedy and Omarova, but between the senators themselves.
Her Soviet citizenship.
I understand that, but she's the witness, not you.
Tempers flared, accusations of character assassination were thrown around,
refusing to answer Kennedy's pointed questions.
And Senator Scott? Just 30 minutes earlier, he claimed nobody was making communist insinuations, yet here we were. It was a Senate hearing that quickly turned into political theater.
Thank you, Professor. I checked with my staff, Senator Kennedy. I've never interrupted you or they believe anybody.
Well, that's not
their
true,
questioning.
Mr. Chairman, and I'm entitled to ask my questions.
And you were.
I didn't interrupt you when you gave your introduction, and I don't like being interrupted when I'm asking my questions.
Senator Kennedy, I heard.
It's called senatorial courtry.
I understand that, and there's also senatorial courtesy.
And you may disagree with me. But that's why you have 5 minutes and I have 5 minutes.
Senator Kennedy, senatorial courtesy is also not doing character assassination. I heard Senator Scott.
Well, that's your opinion.
30 minutes
that's
ago.
Not my opinion.
30 minutes ago, I heard Senator Scott.
Me, but I'm entitled to answer questions without you interrupting me. You and I don't agree. I still like you. We're friends. You have the right to your opinion, but I've got the right to mine. And you can't just interrupt me when I'm asking my question.
You still got a full 5. You still got a full 5 minutes.
And you've done it before.
Senator Scott just a moment ago said nobody on his side has done any kind of communist insinuation of her character and her background. He just said that, so I'm hopeful that Senator Scott and maybe perhaps Senator Tillis or Senator Toomey or Senator Kramer will call out those people that do character
Well, do you not think
Senator,
it's relevant
Senator Warren
is a member of the Young Communists?
I'm not here to answer your question, Senator Kennedy. Senator Warren is recognized for 5 minutes from Massachusetts.
This exchange wasn't just about one nominee, it was about, and how much of a person's past should factor into public service. Was Kennedy's line of questioning fair, or did it cross into character assassination? Let us know what you think in the comments. Do you believe Omarova should be confirmed, or is her past too concerning? And don't forget, if you want more real talk on politics, policy, and power plays, subscribe, hit the like button, and share this video. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.